Me, 44, corporate communications director in Seattle. Been married to my husband Paul for 16 years. He's 46, works as civil engineer for the city. We met in our late 20s, married quickly. Always consider myself the dominant partner. More educated, higher salary, more ambitious. Paul is quieter, more reserved, less assertive. Perfect match, I thought. I lead, he follows. Our marriage has been stable, no major conflicts, but also no passion, no real connection anymore. We're roommates, more than partners at this point. Over the years, I've become more vocal about feminism, about gender roles, about equality, about power dynamics. Paul just listens, nods, never argues with my points, never pushes back on anything I say, whether it's about politics, relationships, or our marriage. He just agrees or stays silent. At first I appreciated this, thought it meant he respected me, that he valued my opinions and insights. But lately it's been bothering me more and more. Not sure why exactly, just feels wrong somehow. Like he's not really there, not really engaged. Just going through motions, saying what I want to hear. Tonight we're having dinner, our usual routine. I'm talking about my day, about workplace politics, about how my male colleague got credit for my idea, about the systemic sexism I deal with constantly. Paul is nodding, eating his food quietly. Don't you have anything to say about this? I ask. It sounds frustrating, he responds mildly. That's it. That's all you have to say. He looks up from his plate, confused. What would you like me to say? Feel irritation rising for reasons I can't explain. I don't know. Something with substance. Some opinion or perspective or anything. He's quiet for a moment. I agree that it's wrong he took credit for your work. You should talk to your boss about it. The response is reasonable, but somehow infuriating. Why don't you ever argue with me? I blur out. He looks genuinely surprised by the question. About what specifically? About anything. About everything I say. You just nod and agree and never push back. He sets down his fork carefully. Would you like me to argue with you? I don't know. Maybe it would show you actually care. Show you're engaged instead of just placating me. He's quiet again, that maddening quiet. I'm not trying to placate you. Then what are you doing? He looks at me with expression I can't read. I'm keeping the peace. The statement hangs in the air between us. What does that mean? He picks up his fork again, doesn't answer. Paul, what does that mean, keeping the peace? He sighs, puts the fork back down. Can we not do this right now? No, I want to understand. Why do you never argue? Why do you just agree with everything I say? He's looking at his plate, not at me. Because when I disagree, it becomes a problem. Feel defensive immediately. That's not true. I want you to disagree. I want real conversation, real engagement. He looks at me directly now, something in his eyes. Do you really want me to be honest? Yes, obviously. That's what I've been asking for. He leans back in his chair, studying me. Okay, but you're not going to like it. I can handle it, just tell me. He takes a deep breath like he's preparing. You don't actually want my opinion. You want me to validate yours. And when I don't, you make me pay for it. Feel shocked and angry at this characterization. That's not fair. I always listen to you. Do you, though? He challenges, unusual edge to his voice. When's the last time I disagreed with you? And you actually consider my perspective? Can't immediately think of an example. Exactly, he says quietly. I learned a long time ago it's easier to just agree. This feels like an attack somehow. So you're saying I'm controlling, that I don't let you speak. I'm saying you don't make it safe to disagree. So I stopped trying. The words hit harder than expected. When did this start? When did you stop trying? He thinks about it, timeline in his head. Probably around year 5 of our marriage. That's when I realized nothing I said mattered. That you'd already decided how things were going to be. Want to argue, but need to understand. Give me an example, a specific time. He doesn't hesitate, has examples ready. Remember when we were deciding about kids? I said I wanted to wait a few more years. You said we couldn't wait. Your biological clock was ticking. Remember that conversation? It was heated. So we decided not to have kids at all, because I didn't want to be rushed, wanted to be ready. But you were angry I wasn't ready when you were. This isn't how I remember it. We decided together not to have kids. No, you decided. I just stopped arguing. Because every conversation about it became a lecture. About men not understanding women's fertility timelines. About my privilege to not worry about biological clocks. He's right, I did say those things. After months of that, I just gave up. Said, okay, no kids, whatever you want. Feel something heavy settling in my chest. You wanted kids, I say quietly. I wanted to have them when we were both ready. But that wasn't an option. It was your timeline or nothing. So I chose nothing and made peace with it. Never realized he'd wanted children. Thought we mutually decided against them. What else? I ask, afraid of the answer. He shifts in his seat, uncomfortable. The house we bought, I wanted the one in the suburbs. You want a condo downtown near your work. Said suburbs were conformist, that you needed city energy. Remember that decision. Thought it was mutual. I wanted the yard, the space, the quiet. You said those things were markers of bourgeois complacency. So we bought the condo, and I shut up about it. Each example is a small cut, adding up. Our vacations, always cultural cities you want to see, never the hiking trips or quiet beaches I suggest. Your career always takes priority over mine. Your friends are who we socialize with. Your politics are what we publicly support. Your opinions are what we discuss at dinner parties. He's listing them now, years of buried resentments. I'm just the supporting character in your story. The quiet husband who nods and agrees, who doesn't have opinions or needs of his own. Feel tears starting. This is brutal. Why didn't you say something sooner? Why did you let it get to this point? He laughs, no humor in it. I tried. Early on I tried constantly. But every disagreement turned into a fight. Every difference of opinion became about gender politics. He continues, voice getting more emotional. If I wanted something different than you, you'd say I was being controlling or patriarchal. If I pushed back on your ideas, you'd accuse me of mansplaining or not listening. Don't remember being that harsh. I was just trying to have conversations about what we wanted as a couple. But you made every conversation a political battle. He's right, though, I did do that. Still do it, reflexively. So I learned to just agree with you. To say yes and go along with what you want. Because fighting was exhausting and pointless. Feel defensive and guilty simultaneously. So you've been miserable for 11 years. Not miserable, just resigned. I love you, I chose to stay. But I also chose to stop fighting for my own voice. The distinction matters somehow, because having your own voice meant constant conflict, and not having it meant peace, even if hollow peace. We sit in heavy silence for several minutes. Why are you telling me this now? I finally ask. He looks tired, older than his 46 years. Because you asked, genuinely asked, and I'm tired of pretending, tired of being the agreeable husband who has no opinions. His honesty is devastating and necessary. What do you want? I ask quietly. I don't know anymore, he admits. I've suppressed what I want for so long. I'm not sure I remember what it is. Feel panic rising. Is he leaving me? Are you saying you want a divorce? He's quiet for a long time, considering. I'm saying I can't keep living like this. Like a guest in my own life. Like my only job is to support your choices, while having none of my own. Tears are falling now, can't stop them. I didn't know you felt this way. I did tell you, many times years ago. You just didn't listen or didn't want to hear it. He stands up, starts clearing dishes. I see Fosen processing Evelyn. I need to think about what I want going forward. Whether this marriage can become something different, or if it's too late to change it. He leaves the kitchen, goes upstairs. Hear the guest room door close. He's sleeping separately tonight, first time ever. Sit at the dining table alone for hours, replaying our entire marriage in my head, seeing it from his perspective for first time. All the times I steamrolled his opinions. All the times I made his preferences political. All the times I dismissed him as wrong or regressive, because he didn't agree with my worldview. Pull out my phone, scroll through old texts. See the pattern I couldn't see before. Me making decisions and informing him. Him agreeing or not responding. Me assuming his silence meant consent, when it actually meant defeat. Think about our social life, our friends. Realize they're all my friends, not his. He stopped suggesting we see his friends years ago, because I always found reasons not to. They were too conservative, too traditional, too boring. So he stopped seeing them rather than fight about it. Think about our home, our life, our choices. Everything reflects my taste, my priorities, my values. Where is he in any of it? Where are his preferences, his personality, his voice? He's disappeared into my life, into my shadow. And I never even noticed, never even asked. Next morning, Paul leaves early for work. Doesn't say goodbye, just leaves a note. Need some space to think, staying at a hotel tonight. Feel panic, real panic for first time. He's never done this, never needed space before. Always been there, reliable, steady, agreeable. Now he's not agreeable, and I don't know what to do. Calling sick to work? Can't focus anyway. Spend the day going through our life together. Photo albums, old emails, try to understand. Looking at his face in pictures over the years. Seeing the smile fade gradually. The light in his eyes dimming. The resignation settling in. Find journal from years ago, his handwriting. Didn't know he kept a journal, never asked. Debate whether to read it, decide I need to understand. Opened a random entry from 8 years ago. Tried to talk to her about feeling unheard today. She said I was being passive-aggressive by not communicating. But I was communicating, she just didn't want to hear it. Don't know how to get through to her anymore. Feel sick reading his private thoughts. About how invisible he felt, how dismissed. How he loved me, but didn't recognize himself anymore. Entry from 6 years ago. Gave up on suggesting things today. It's easier to just let her decide everything. She's happy when she gets her way, and I'm tired of fighting losing battles. Entry from 4 years ago. Realized today, I don't know who I am anymore. Outside of being her husband, her supporter, all my interests have faded, all my preferences buried. I'm a ghost in my own life. Close the journal, can't read anymore. Can't bear seeing the slow death of his spirit. Death I cause with my certainty and control. That evening he texts. Staying at hotel another night. Need more time. Want to beg him to come home, but resist. Just respond, okay, take the time you need. Spend another night alone, thinking about everything. About how I became the thing I criticized. The controlling partner, the one with all the power. The one who made unilateral decisions. Just dressed it up in feminist language. Made his disagreement about patriarchy instead of preference. Made his needs about privilege instead of validity. Used politics as weapon to win every argument. Third day, he comes home during his lunch break. I'm there, took another sick day. We sit in the living room, awkward distance between us. I've been thinking, he starts. I need things to change significantly, or I can't stay in this marriage. Feel fear, but also understanding. What do you need to change? He's prepared, has thought this through. I need you to actually listen when I speak. Not just wait for your turn to correct me. Not make everything about gender politics. Just listen to me as your partner. Nod, taking notes mentally. I need to have equal say in decisions. Not just go along with what you want. Actually discuss and compromise, even when my preference isn't the progressive choice. Continue nodding, understanding. I need space to be myself. To have my own interests and friends, without you judging them as wrong or lesser. He's not done, has more. I need you to see me as a person, not as a representative of problematic masculinity, not as a student you're constantly educating. Just as Paul, your husband, your equal partner, the requests are reasonable, devastating, and I need to rediscover who I am, outside of being your agreeable husband. I need to remember what I want and feel safe expressing it. He looks at me directly, vulnerable. Can you do that? Can you give me those things? Want to immediately say yes, but need to be honest. I don't know, I want to try, but I don't know how to be different, how to not correct or educate or lead. He nods, expected this answer. Maybe we need help, marriage counseling, someone to mediate, to help us communicate better. The suggestion makes sense. Okay, I'll find a counselor. I'll set it up. He holds up his hand. No, we'll find one together. We'll both research and decide together. That's what equal partnership looks like. Feel the correction. It's gentle but clear. This is what he means, including him in decisions. You're right. We'll do it together. He seems relieved I understood. I'm going to stay at the hotel for another week. Give us both space to process this. Then we can start counseling if you agree. Want to protest? Want him home now. But respect his need for space. Okay, a week, then we figure this out. He stand to leave, I stand too. Paul, I'm sorry for all of it. For not listening, for controlling everything. For making you disappear in our marriage. He's quiet, then speaks carefully. I'm not blameless. I should have fought harder. Should have insisted you listen instead of just giving up. But I was tired, and it was easier to be quiet. We stand there awkwardly. I don't want to lose you, I admit. I don't want to lose me either, he responds. That's what was happening. I was losing myself. The honesty is painful, but necessary. He leaves back to his hotel. I sit in our empty condo and really look at it. Everything is mine. Nothing is ours. My art on the walls, my books on the shelves. My style, my choices, my preferences everywhere. He exists here only as absence, as negative space around my presence. Spend the week really examining myself. My behavior, my patterns, my control. How I used feminism as justification for dominating him, just like patriarchy dominates women. Same control, different ideology. Start researching marriage counselors together via email. Actually discussing options, asking his preference. It's strange, foreign, including him. But also right how it should have been always. We find someone we both agree on. Set up first appointment for next week. The night before counseling, he comes to dinner. We meet at a restaurant, neutral ground. Conversation is stilted at first, uncertain. Are you nervous about tomorrow? I ask. A little. Therapy feels vulnerable. Make conscious effort to just listen. What are you nervous about specifically? He thinks about it. That nothing will change. That we'll go through the motions, but you'll still be you. And I'll still be the quiet husband who gave up. The fear is valid. I share it. I'm scared of that too. Scared I don't know how to be different. How to share power instead of taking it. We sit in shared uncertainty. But I want to try. I continue. I don't want to lose you because of my ego, because I needed to always be right. He reaches across the table, takes my hand. First real touch in weeks. I want to try too. I love you, I always have. I just need to love myself again too. Squeeze his hand, understanding. Counseling is hard, really hard. Having to hear from neutral third party. How controlling I've been, how dismissive. How I've used politics to shut down his voice. The counselor doesn't take sides. But does make me see patterns I refuse to see. Makes me sit with discomfort of hearing Paul's truth. Without defending or explaining or deflecting. We go weekly for months. Slowly learning to communicate differently. Learning to share power, to compromise. Learning that disagreement isn't betrayal. Paul starts expressing opinions again. Small ones at first, tentative. I'd prefer Italian tonight instead of Thai. My instinct is to explain why Thai is better. But I catch myself, just say, okay, Italian sounds good. See his surprise, his relief. Bigger things gradually. I want to see my old friends again. I know you don't like them, but they matter to me. Instinct is to explain why they're problematic. Instead, I say, you should. I'll even come if you want. His face lights up. Hadn't expected that. We start making decisions together. Really together, not me deciding and him agreeing. Where to vacation, how to spend money. What to do with our weekend. It's slower, more complicated, but also more satisfying somehow. Feels like partnership instead of dictatorship. 6 months into therapy, big breakthrough. Paul tells counselor about the kids' discussion. How I shut down his timeline, made it political. Counselor asks if we've revisited that. We decided not to have kids, I say. You decided, Paul corrects gently but firmly. Look at him, really look at him. Did you still want children? He's quiet for a long moment. I don't know anymore. I'm 46, maybe that ship has sailed. But I wish we'd made that decision together, instead of you making it and me accepting it. Feel grief for the family we didn't have, for the choice I took from both of us. I'm sorry, I tell him, meaning it. I robbed you of that choice, that future. He nods, accepting the apology. I robbed myself too by not fighting harder. We both carry responsibility, different weights. 1 year into therapy, we're different. Not fixed, but different better. I'm learning to listen without correcting, to include him without controlling, to value his perspective even when it differs from mine. He's learning to speak up, to advocate for himself, to express needs without fear of conflict, to believe his voice matters. We moved to a new place together. House in the suburbs, his preference, with yard and space and quiet. My commute is longer, but worth it. To live somewhere we both chose. Our walls now have both our art. Our shelves have both our books. Our life reflects both our values. Not just mine, finally ours. TFW, you realize your quiet husband never argues. TFW, you finally ask him why after 16 years. TFW, he tells you he stopped trying to have a voice. TFW, you made every disagreement about gender politics. TFW, you controlled everything while calling it feminism. TFW, you became the oppressor you criticized. TFW, he disappeared into your shadow completely. TFW, you almost lose him before understanding. TFW therapy shows you patterns you refuse to see. TFW, you have to learn to share power you took. Still believe in feminism and equality. Still advocate for women's rights and voice. But now understand that includes listening to men too. That partnership means actual partnership, not one person dominating while claiming progress. Paul taught me that by finally speaking up, by refusing to disappear anymore, by demanding to be seen and heard, we're rebuilding something better now, something that includes both of us. Not just my voice drowning out his, not just my choices becoming our life, but actual collaboration, compromise, respect. It's harder than being in control, but infinitely more valuable. Because I have a partner now, not a ghost. Someone who challenges me, disagrees with me. Someone who exists fully, not just as my echo. That's what marriage should have been all along. Took almost losing him to learn it. But at least I learned it while there was still time. Still time to build something real. Something where we both exist. Where both our voices matter. Where neither has to disappear. For the other to thrive. That's a quality in relationship. Took me 44 years to understand it. But better late than never. Better learning than losing him completely. To my need to be right. To my need to control. To my version of feminism. That excluded the one person who should have been an equal partner all along.